This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
I am really interested to hear what she's going to say about this today. I always am, but especially this, how you match a dog with a human. Let's say you go to a shelter. Let's say you got somebody that has a dog and it's up for adoption. How do you know it's the right fit? She deals with this all the time, has paired many dogs and people up over the years as the owner of the Animal Psychology Center. So great to have her back with us, Katherine Andrews, on the program. How are you today?
I'm really good, thank you. I know the last time we had our podcast, it was a little bit sad and all that, but I have had therapy with my wonderful therapist. His name is Garrett Petroff, and he's in South Dakota. Give him a shout out because he's amazing. He talks from a higher soul level. Anyway, check him out if you're needing some help and healing. But yeah, let's talk about this because a lot of times people come to me and say, you know, what's the biggest factor in me getting a service dog or a family pet? And always I will say chemistry, just like when you're looking for a significant other. You know, it's not really how you match up on paper. It's more about the heart. It's always going to be from a heart connection. And so when you go to a shelter or when you go and meet a litter of puppies, or, you know, you're just going to meet a dog that someone has for adoption, you always want to go with your heart. And it's going to be kind of an instantaneous kind of thing, just like when you meet somebody, you know. And I was talking to Steve about this. I've had to review our podcast because we're doing a YouTube channel for my website. And I had to look at our first podcast on your birthday. And I noticed we had this instant chemistry, you know, and it's like that. It's like I looked at that podcast and I'm like, that can't be our first podcast because like we were just like old friends. So it's that kind of feeling, you know, with a dog, with a person, with a hamster. It's like you're old friends. It's like you immediately just fit together and you never run out of things to talk about. Like you and I, Steve, we never run out of things to talk about. We're never like odd silences. So it's that same thing. And, you know, what led me to this topic today was I have a pug and she's about 3 years old. And I was thinking of sadly adopting her. And I'll tell you why, because I'm always looking at things from the greater good. I have such a hard time keeping her on a diet. And she is so overweight that I'm embarrassed sometimes because she's my dog, you know, and I'm supposed to be this animal expert. And she is literally like 30 pounds and she should be about 20 pounds. And I cannot keep her away from food. And she is an easy keeper. So you could feed her a half a cup of food and she'll just still weigh 30 pounds. And so I'm like, my heart, you know, is just like, I love her so much. And she absolutely adores me, follows me everywhere. She's right here, you know, and I try to exercise her. We go outside and she will sit down after have half a block and go, nope, done. Like she's such a diva. She doesn't want to exercise. And, you know, I have these other dogs that are thin. They're puppies. I have dogs I'm training and she manages to find food all the time. And I'm like, okay, I need to adopt her. I just do, or she's going to die of a cardiac arrest, right? Because this happened to me with a bulldog, same kind of situation. And the bulldog died at 8. And my vet said, well, you know, overweight, yada, yada, yada. And I felt so guilty and so bad. So I'm like, I'm not going to let this happen to Velvet, the pug. And I really went through this sort of dark night of the soul about it. And finally, my friend talked some sense into me and she said, Katherine, that dog adores you and you adore her. She said, you're doing everything you can. Let it go. Just let it go. And I think she's right. Would she live another couple of years in another home if someone were able to keep her on a strict diet? Probably. But for me to separate her from me, I think is going to be gut-wrenching for her, and it's going to be gut-wrenching for me. I mean, just talking about it right now, I get choked up.
But you're assuming you don't know she could live, you know, another 8 years. You don't know.
I
you
know.
don't have an answer. you know?
Oh, I know. I mean, I'm I'm trying. I might be overthinking it, and I mean, there's plenty of people that are chubby that live long, healthy lives, right? And I'm doing everything I can. Like my friend said, you're a good mom, you're doing everything you can. That's all you can do. And just let it go. Let her be
Mm.
chubby. I mean, she's like, I have a daughter that's chubby, and I did the same thing. I signed her up for exercise class. I took her to ballet. I took her to tap. I did this. I did that. She didn't want to do it. She's not a physically active person. She likes to eat. And the doctor's like, yeah, she's overweight, but she's not, obese. And she's happy. And um, she's in nursing school right now, and she's doing great. And she's like, I finally just let it go. And
Well, in the case of the dog, can you do more now that
gastric
it
bypass.
no, no. GLP-1s? No, now that
That's
Ozempic,
hilarious.
puppy Ozempic. Now that
I'm
it's
so
getting
taking
warmer
a
up, what if you intentionally walk her more often, keep her on the leash, just give her more exercise? At least you'll know that you're doing the best you can with her. And back to knowing if it's the right dog for you. Is it like when you meet somebody like a soulmate that
shot.
you know when you know? Is it like that?
It is. It
Mm.
absolutely is. Absolutely is. And here's the thing. Like I pick out dogs for people too. And I am a very good liaison matchmaker. And so I'll tell people, like I have this notebook, like whenever people call me and I scribble, a lot like this guy who has a TV show because he's a psychic. And he started out very and you know this guy, you probably have seen him on TV, but he scribbles, and I do the same thing. I scribble when I talk to people,
Hmm.
and things come to me, and I'm also very, like him. I'm very accurate, and I'll say, okay, I got a picture of what you want, and then I'll contact like breeders or humane societies and all that, and I'll find him a dog. I swear to God, Steve, I've never been wrong. I find like the perfect dog. It's just because it's one of those weird things that I do. That's just like with this whole psychic ability, and so I can do that. Sometimes breeders can do that for you, sometimes not. You kind of have to talk to them and see what their record is. But the alternative obviously is going and meeting the puppies and the litter, or going to the Humane Society and one-on-one if you can't find somebody that can match you up. But like right now, I have a King Charles Spaniel that I got from a breeder in California for a woman, and I'm training him to be a service dog. So I'm doing everything like from square one: find the dog, get the dog here, train the dog, and she's paying for the whole journey, which I do. But I know that this is going to be a perfect match for her just because of my ability. And I honed it when I had a Humane Society, and people would come and they would say, this is what I'm looking for. And sometimes I would match them up with what they're looking for. But sometimes I would say, hang on, I got something else. And I would find another dog, and they would go, oh my God, that is the right match for us. I'm like a super crazy good matchmaker.
I felt it in all the animals I've ever had, and most were the right fit. Not to say that one wasn't the right fit, but it was more of a I feel bad. I need to get this animal out of the shelter, and had abuse issues, so it wasn't as loving
Yeah.
as you would like a cat. That was a cat. Um, but my two cats now, I knew it right away, and they are the mushiest, most loving. My dog, I saw him, and I'm like, yep, he's the one. And when he's a puppy, I was maybe like 8 weeks, if that. And I knew from the moment he went on his back and I petted his belly, I was like, you're it. That's it. We're good. That's the
Yeah.
one. You just
Yeah.
like, that's why I asked that question. You kind of know when you know. And if you're not feeling that, you might want to tap the brakes a little bit and just kind of look at it again,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. Because I tell people when they're looking, if they're not using me to look, I'm like, it's completely heart based. Like, totally go with your heart. Don't think
Yep.
it. Because
Yep.
you think it like, oh, I should choose this dog because this is his pedigree. This is, it's not a thinking, it's a heart thing, and that's what it's that way with relationships too. That's why a lot of times people on paper might match up, but then they'll meet and you'll be like, I would have never put those two together, and it ends up being like the best match ever. And the ones that aren't great matches end up being what I call lessons for us. Those are
Mm-hmm.
our exes, our friends who end up being our exes. There are lessons in life who we end up thanking them and blessing them because they teach us things. But
Teach us never to do that again.
I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, exactly. Just
Mm.
like the last
But
podcast
you know what?
10 years.
All right. So, all right. Now let's go even deeper. Jump down the rabbit
Okay.
hole. It's said that we pick people in our lives, especially close relationships, partners, based on what's lacking in our lives or based on what our childhood was like. There's a connection
Yeah.
there. I wonder if it's the same when it comes to an animal. You're not going to see it, but is there?
Yeah. No, that's a super good point. You're so good at what you do here. You are so good at
I'm
this
just
shit.
thinking out loud. Like I
No,
wonder.
no, I know. Yeah, but no, don't be modest. You're like super good at talking to people and like getting information. This is what I tell people when they bring me a dog that's really difficult and this dog is acting out, and I'll say, listen, because they'll say, it's the wrong dog. You're just going to have to help me find a home. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just pause on this because I'm telling you, when we go down the road with this dog and we start to unravel this emotional journey and this baggage that this dog is carrying, we are going to be doing the same with you because you guys came together
Mm,
for a reason and there's healing to be done here. So if you can take a breath and just bear with me and let's start to figure this out. I can tell you 100%, 100%. I've been doing this since I was 9 years old. I cannot ever remember a time when those words that came out of my mouth were not true. Always true. Always true.
So, are you saying that, of course, the human has baggage, but just because it's an animal doesn't mean it doesn't have baggage, right?
Absolutely. I mean, animals come into this life with lessons to learn. They sometimes have baggage from past homes, but sometimes even as puppies, just like us, I mean, I obviously I've died this lifetime. I know about life after death. I know that the bigger picture. So we have had other lives, other experiences, and so have animals. Animals are the same. And so they come in with lessons and they match up with people because, lessons are similar. And then they find me and we have a journey together. And I'll tell you something else that's almost kind of spooky is that when we go through the journey together and the dog has a part and the person has a part, there's a part in it for me too. There's a part of healing for me and a part of
Mm.
my background. And so it's really cool. And then when we go through the whole thing and that person is sitting there and we're like reviewing the whole thing in the rear view mirror, I'll look at them and say, so what do you think about what I said, 4 months ago, 6 months ago when we started this journey? And they'd be like, wow, like I could have never predicted how much truth was in that. And I could have never predicted how
Mm.
much I would have gotten from this relationship with this dog and working with you and how much healing we did in such a short time and how the bond with this dog because of the healing we did is so much deeper and wonderful and how I'm so glad that I didn't give up on him, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've experienced it.
Pretty amazing.
It is, and all right, I'm going to say it. The one cat, I have two cats. One, I believe, was sent from another cat that passed away 6 years ago. Seven,
Yeah,
7 years ago.
yeah. I see
Uh,
that a lot too. Yeah.
there's not even a doubt in my mind. They were both orange tabbies, both mushy, but I rescued the other one who passed. He was in a cage for a year, and I got him at the shelter. But I got the current tabby for a reason. Stuff was going on
Mhm.
to help family heal. Just leave it at that. There was a reason. And I
Yeah,
believe this cat was sent from the other one as a, hey, you did me a solid, I'm going to do you a solid. And this
right.
cat's going to be even better,
Right.
and I like,
Oh, no.
it's mind blowing. It's almost
It is.
the
It
affection from this
is.
cat. It's almost too much. Like I can't even sit on the couch and watch TV. He's like all over me. He's hugging me, drooling on me. Like, oh, I'm like, give me a minute. I'm on my phone. I'm trying to change channels on TV. Good problem to have. But I believe he was sent. I really do.
Yeah, yeah. I'm working with someone right now who has a little dog by the name of Cricket. I think I told you the story about Cricket. He came to me when he was about 8 years old, and they thought he was on his last leg. And I'm like, no, no, no. We just got to get his mouth cleaned up because there's people ignore dogs' mouths and they get full of infection, especially little dogs. Little dogs have bad teeth for some reason. Anyway, we got his mouth cleaned up and found out that he had allergies, and the vet was totally missing it. I said, put him on this salmon dog food. Don't feed him any beef or chicken. He's highly allergic. So anyway, went on to live another 8 years to be 16. And Cricket was just such a wise soul, and the whole family loved him, and just got so much from him. And his owner, Sarah, said, he helped me raise my kids when I was a single mom, and he passed recently, and she's really, really struggling and had a hard time with it. And so I've been channeling Cricket for her because she's had such a hard time. And Cricket's been talking to me and recently said that he was sending them a puppy, and they're so excited. And so he actually said it's a white puppy, and so they're looking and waiting for
Mm.
this white puppy. So yeah, it happens, and then sometimes they'll send someone, or they actually will come back in another uh, dog body, cat body. I mean, I actually one time had a horse that came back as a dog.
How do you know?
You know what I'm saying? Because I know. I mean, I
All
just
right,
know.
it's back to when you know, you know. Like I'm saying,
But you
my
already know.
cat was sent for
Yeah,
by the other cat. How do I know? Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Like,
Right. And I mean, saying it sounds crazy, not to me, but saying it out there in the world sounds crazy. And I'll tell you something even crazier. The horse that came back as a dog wasn't even a horse that I had in this lifetime. It was another horse from another lifetime. And it was a horse that I found that was kind of a soulmate of mine in another lifetime. And I recognized that horse immediately when I was going through the regression session. And I'm like, oh my God, that horse and I, were just like this. I mean, it was a lifetime where I died young, was a girl, and I was in this outlaw family. And I was a little sharpshooter, as you can imagine, of course, always a tomboy. And this horse and I died together young. And we always sort of had this longing, for this horse again. And he came back to me this lifetime. Yeah.
I know this sounds woo to some people, but when you start experiencing this stuff, then you see it and you realize it. And I got you on that. I did a past life regression this summer. Horse was in it, and even have a name for him. And I know there's a connection. I have figured out deeply what's going on here, but it's not the first time I believe I'll be connected to a horse. In fact, this is going to sound crazy. I know nothing about horses. I don't ride horses. I'm going to make an appointment at a stable and just say, "Can I come by? Can I just pet a horse? I need."
They have an energy about them that's different than dogs and cats, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
so healing. And that's why when I had my humane society, I used to rescue horses, and then I gave them to a organization that did therapy for kids that had disabilities and MS and that kind of thing.
Mm.
And it the gains that these kids made just from being around the horses and riding them. And I've always said, I miss having a horse. I had horses when I lived in Dallas and had my Humane Society. And, this lifetime isn't over for me yet. And I'm going to have another horse. And I
Good
don't
for
know
you.
when or how
And
that's going to
you know
happen.
why? You know why? Because when you know, and something is calling you. So we're out of time. I want to tell everybody, considering a pet, not really sure. She's the one. She'll walk you through it. She's got, I don't know, some stuff going on there, intuition, whatever it is, animalpsychologycenter.com. Or you got questions about anything animal related, especially dogs, instant feedback, steve@gmail.com. Always great having you on. Yeah, you're right. It's like we just talk. It just comes naturally. It's kind of weird. When you know, you know. Thanks
When
for
you know
being
you,
here.
yeah. And Steve, hey, your email is steve@gmail.com.
Hold on. I'll get to that in 1 sec. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.